Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been on these streets since 1969. We've been trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that you are the true Jews of the Bible. And because of that, you will never have any true peace and love inside of America. You will never be loved by the other nations on the face of the earth. Matter of fact, if you could get me Zephaniah 2:1. We're going to get that real quick. If you're busy, let me know and I'll get it myself, but for sure.
Oh.
John. Yeah, let me get Zephaniah 2:1. Okay. Most High and Christ. Let me know when you got that. Zephaniah 2:1. Okay. John, just read what you got. Zephaniah 2:1.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Gather what?
Yourselves together.
Now, the Christian church will have you believe this is something about everybody. To gather together. But we're about to see that's not what the Most High had in plan, had envisioned. Read on.
Yeah. Gather together.
Gather together. Yeah, gather together. Keep going.
Oh, nation.
Oh, what?
Oh, nation.
Oh, what?
Oh, nation.
Nation. Keep going.
Not desired.
Not what?
Not desired.
Not what?
Not desired.
But what is that saying? So everybody teaches you that it's about being what's called. We all are supposed to come together, right? We're all supposed to be together as a nation that's not desired, right? But what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Read it again.
Yourselves together. Yeah. Gather together. Oh, nation not desired.
Gather together, O nation not desired. Why? Why does not the nation that's not desired? Do you know why, Y.O.S.U.P.K? You want to give it a shot?
Because the world hates us.
The world hates us, right? Now, why does the world hate us, though? What did we do to anybody? Like, explain to me what the Puerto Ricans did to the conquistadors. Like, if you can help me out with that. Because I don't know. All I heard was Columbus said they were a nice and peaceable people. So what did they do to warrant 1,100 of them being put on ships?
They were brotherly.
They were what?
Brotherly.
They were brotherly. Give me an understanding of that. What do you mean by they were brotherly?
They welcomed them with open arms instead of telling them to get the hell off their island.
Right. They welcomed them with open arms instead of telling them to get off their island. Now, we have a saying like that in the world. What does that say? What is that saying? And people say it because if you're not, okay, don't mistake what for what?
Kindness for weakness.
And that's the problem.
Right.
Okay. And in the point, here's the problem though. You can't even use that in a way because at the end of the day, they were weak. They were weak enough to think. Man, weak isn't even necessarily about strength. Weak, physical strength. It is a weak thing to just have random people just run up in your house and do whatever. Okay, that is a weak thing to do. Okay, Salaki. Now drop that. Give me Deuteronomy 28:15. Okay, and wait, Salakia, give me verse 2. Speaking of which, give me verse 2 in Zephaniah before you drop Zephaniah. Salakia. Okay, you got it.
Verse 2. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the shaft, before the fierce anger of the Most High come upon you, before the day of the Most High's anger come upon you.
Now, what is that talking about?
His judgment.
His judgment. So what is 1 and 2 saying?
Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired,
right?
Before the decree, meaning before the oath.
Give me a little more. You had it better with the first word you used. Before the... How did you originally break down verse 2?
Before the decree.
But what word did you use? Huh? What? You used judgment. Right? You need to gather yourselves to the Most High before the judgment comes down. What's the judgment? Coronavirus. What's the judgment? The mistreatment and misfortune we'll get amongst our enemies. And we're going to get into that in a second. Okay? Now, what's it called? Read verse 3. Read, okay, so that's 43. Read verse 3.
Seek ye the Most High.
Right? Okay. We're commanded to seek the Most High, meaning the nation that's not desired. And you need to understand, the Most High is not with everybody, and this needs to be understood. God does not love everybody, and we're going to get that in the scriptures later, right? And it's important to understand this. Why? Because when you see us on the streets and we say to hell with these goddamn Asians and to hell with their goddamn anti-Asian hate group, whatever movement. Like, man, up in here, we pray for more hatred to come to the Asian community. We are praying for this. Now, understand, we do not want any Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian to in any way harm the Asian community. Leave the Asian community alone. Just pray that God sends another sex-addicted white boy to shoot up another massage parlor. Pray that God sends another virus to kill the Asian population. Pray that God just makes all of them give birth to rats or with genetic birth mutations. Pray God gives all of Asia cancer. That's what you do. Don't go up beating an Asian or thinking you can shoot an Asian. Okay, here's what you do to fight the Asians. Stop supporting their businesses. That's how you stop it. That's how you beat an Asian. Now, read that from the top, Bible Show.
Verse 3. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have brought his...
Stop. Now, meek. I'm going to get the definition of the word meek. Quiet. This is who the Most High is telling to seek him. Meek is quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on. Submissive. Meaning what? Like I said earlier, what did the Ephraimites or the Puerto Ricans do to the conquistadors? Absolutely nothing. Okay? There was not a slave rebellion every week inside of the Americas. Like one of the more known ones was the failed one in AME, and quote emphasis on failed, right? Why did they fail? Because some of us wanted to love our oppressors, right? Some of us wanted to be submissive. Some of us wanted to be imposed on, like have someone step over us, right? So they snitched at the people that were revolted. I believe similar happened to Nat Turner. I can't be sure though, right? But these quiet and gentle people, God saying what? Read 3 from the top.
Seek ye the Most High, all ye meek of the earth.
The Chinese are not meek. The Chinese are number 2 or number 3 world superpower in the earth. I'm here and saying I didn't know. The Russians don't like the Chinese. I mean, that's not much of a shock. Devils will never like devils, but I would have thought, we're both communists and you're trying to take down America. But the white man, but our oppressor is the devil. Regardless if he has an American flag or a Russian flag. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Which have brought his judgment.
Which have wrought his judgment. Okay, keep going.
Seek righteousness.
Seek righteousness. He's telling his people, the nation not desired, that they need to seek righteousness. Keep going.
Seek meekness.
Seek meekness. What does that mean? You should seek to have a meek spirit. You should seek to have a gentle spirit. You should seek to have a submissive spirit. But what's the problem? Who are we submitting to now?
The oppressor.
That's the perfect word. We're submitting to our oppressors. Now, usually we talk about our, this Caucasian, the so-called white man being the oppressor. But today, we're going to explain, I'm going to blow the water over for something many of y'all don't understand. These Asians oppress us too. Okay? These East Indians oppress us. These Africans oppress us. Today's topic will be the Asians, though, and showing all the evil that they commit amongst our people. Right? Keep reading what you got in verse 3.
It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Most High's anger.
What does that mean? you'll be hid in the day of the Most High's anger. You ever heard of a brother or sister? You ever heard of a brother and sister in here or a sister having to fight in a nail salon over some messed up eyelashes?
La.
You ever heard of a brother, trying to fight the Chinaman because the Chinaman thinks he stole something?
La.
Read that last part from the top.
It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Most High's anger.
It may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Most High's anger. Now, we have not, this pandemic has been going on for over a year now, basically, right? In the I.S.U.P.K, we have not experienced one death due to the coronavirus. Your pastor who wants to say the coronavirus is fake, he died a month later. That happened to a few pastors, right? Because you know why? They're not hid in the day of the Most High's anger. That's what this is talking about. Okay, now drop that. Give me the definition of oppression, if you still got it.
Oppression, prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control.
Prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. Prolonged, meaning over a long period of time, an extended period of time. Since these Asians got inside of this country, they have never loved our people. The Asians have never loved black people, blacks and Hispanics. Show me a time when our people have ever come together. Matter of fact, I wish I had that one. What's it called? Matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can't find that in a second. Okay, now, so what we're gonna do is show a prolonged history of the Asians being enemies towards blacks and Hispanics. Right? And I'm gonna get that. And we're gonna go back in time even to show that this isn't a new thing. There was an there was a Chinese member of the Black Panthers. Come to find out, years later, he was an informant for the feds and sold them drugs and helped get those brothers arrested. Okay? What's it called? We cannot trust our enemies. Okay? We have been oppressed by these people for far too long. Give me Deuteronomy now. Give me 28 and 15. We're going to get that first.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Meaning what? You don't want to listen to the Most High and his instruction. The Most High said to be a racist. The Most High said we cannot love the other nations. Now, that's not saying we can't do business with them. I'm not saying our reason for boycotting the Asian community right now is simply because of the lack of respect they have for the Black and Hispanic community. If the Asian community, if I didn't have videos to bring up about Asian women beating my sister upside the head with goddamn broomsticks, I would say buy all the Chinese food you want. Well, I don't know about that, because if they still had the cat, rat, and dog room, yeah, don't eat. I would suggest not buying the Chinese food. But not wrong with getting your nails done. If there's no problem with Asian men punching our sisters inside of a beauty supply store, go buy all the weave you want to, sister. But yet and still, he doesn't. So I have a problem with anyone who does, who supports him, right? And that's why we're cursed. We're cursed, honestly, mainly because we don't follow the laws of the Bible. What is the two most basic laws? Christ explained this.
Love thy brother.
No, before that. What's the law before that that's more important?
Love the Most High with all your heart and all your soul.
With all your heart and with all your soul, right? You must love the Most High. And the next one is just as important. I'm paraphrasing. He said something to that effect. Keep going.
Love thy neighbor.
Why should you love your neighbor, though?
Because that's your brother.
Well, I believe he technically said brother, but you can use neighbor. Neighbor and brother are interchangeable. If anyone has a question, put it online, and I'll gladly answer that. But why? Let's say brother. So why? Why should you love your brother? And why is that so important?
Because brotherhood is a weapon.
Yes, that's true, but no, that's not why.
Because when two or three are gathered, it's the spirit of God.
Yes, but no, that's not why. How is the love of God perfected?
I keep it low.
No, and that we love one another.
No.
You can't probably, so think about it. The only way, what does God love more than anything?
Those who follow.
Yes, but stay on topic. He loves your brother more than anything, right? So for you to go and say, I love you, but I don't love him, you can't love him.
Right.
Why is that important in the topic of Asians?
Because they don't love us.
Yes, but try to flip it. Forget about them. Think about all the simple-minded of our people that are out there saying, stop the Asian hate. What does that say about them? Understanding the most important thing to the Most High is us, right? And the second law, most important law, is to love your brother as you love yourself.
They don't love.
They don't love God. They can't love God. Understand it. Here's a better way to understand it. Like I asked this at camp one time. I asked this to brothers, and they shut down because a sister may be stupid enough to try to say yes. A brother, any self-respecting brother, you ask him, can you love your sister's rapist? He'll look at you like you just asked him some homosexual stuff. Like, what did you really just ask me? What do you think the answer is? He'll look at you like you're stupid because he knows the truth. The only way I can ever look my sister, you can ever look your sister in the eye, or I can ever look my sister in the eye, say that happened, is how? Is if by hating that man. I can't have her rapist over for dinner and say I love you, sis, while me and that cat eat fried chicken while watching the Super Bowl. Me and her are gonna sit here watching the Super Bowl, gonna sit here playing some Call of Duty while he pinned my sister down and did God knows what to her. You don't love your sister. Well, that's how the Most High feels about anybody who supports the Asians. Anybody who supports supports oppressive, the so-called white man. Anybody who supports the Africans, anybody who supports the Arabs. Now, I'm not saying you're automatically evil because you go and buy a chopped cheese from the Arab spot, or tonight you're going to use a Asian dry cleaners. I'm not necessarily saying you're evil. Why? Because we're in captivity, and like the brother just read, we're cursed. There's certain things we can't do for ourselves, right? But here's the fact. Here's the point. We have to learn to love ourselves more. Because when you love yourself, you'll sacrifice for yourself. I could go out here and pay $5, $6 for sweet and sour chicken, a General Toast chicken. Or I could pay $7 to $10 for a plate of jerk chicken. It's more money, but I love my people enough that I'll make the sacrifice. I don't support Asian beauty supply stores. I'm going to go, even if it's a drive for me, to the nearest black and Hispanic beauty supply store. Because I want to love my people more than I love the people that hate us. And that's the point. Read verse 16.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Cursed shall you be in the city. Keep going.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Cursed shall you be in the field. Now, what does this mean?
In the city where you live, and in the field where you slave.
So give me more.
This is generally speaking about the nation that's not desired.
Okay, but what is it saying exactly? Give me an example of curse in the city and curse in the field.
Curse meaning you're going to go through hell.
I mean, okay, here's what you need. Curse in the city and curse in the field. Like, meaning, okay, what does it mean by curse in the city? Are we in the city now?
Yeah.
Are we cursed?
It depends on the we.
Well, Israel as a people, is Israel cursed?
Yes.
Okay, now the field. Who's in a field?
All nations.
Not all nations.
A lot of nations out in the city.
No, I said no. Well, but what's called, are the Asians cursed in New York City? They got to beat up our sister with a broomstick and got off for it.
They are cursed.
How are the other nations cursed? They're not under these curses.
They got hit with corona.
Well, no, that's not a curse though. That's, how do I say it? That's not a curse, and that's more so punishment and judgment.
Huh.
Can you understand the difference?
But ain't a curse a punishment too?
In a way, but it's different. Not in this sense. They're not cursed in this sense. The curse in this sense. They're more so, they're receiving a judgment. Because they're cursed, how do I say it? There's nothing, meaning, here's the difference between them and us. You can stop your curse. They can't. That's the big difference. There's something that can be done to stop, like during the time of David when the Most High sent a plague. David could do something to stop that plague. The Chinese can do nothing to stop their plague. Well, they could donate all their money to the men of the Lord and hope the Most High gives them some mercy. And maybe Commanding General YAHANNA will think about praying for them. But other than that, there's nothing they can do to stop their curse. But we're cursed in the city, right? Because even if you notice, you want to go by that angle, they didn't have the coronavirus numbers that we had. Out of everybody, white, Asian, Black, and Hispanics had the worst cases of coronavirus. But that's more so because we're slaves, right? Now, what is the field though?
I don't know what the field is.
The field, where are the Mexicans forced to do their slavery? In some fields picking oranges, some fields picking tomatoes. Where was Judah meant to do their slavery? In a field picking cotton and rice and tobacco. Okay, meaning what? In both these places, a field also represents country, like the countryside. Like, we're destroyed here in New York City. Just like you go down, for argument's sake, we'll call it North Carolina country. They got shot in that AME church, right? Okay, our brothers and sisters, you go down to Jamaica, the Asians, mainly the Chinese, are extorting them for a highway. Chinese came in there and said, yeah, Jamaicans, we're going to build you a highway. After they built it, yeah, you owe us for that highway now. It's ours now. And basically trying to take over the country and basically make it like a Chinese territory inside of I honestly don't see any cause for alarm for that. I think the United States government would go to war before they allow the Chinese to have a goddamn colony inside of South America. Well, not inside of Central America or the Caribbean. On this side of the hemisphere. Look at all the Slovakia. You gotta understand, these are the same people that destroyed the Cubans simply because the Cubans wanted to work with the Russians. That ain't gonna work with the Jamaicans. The American government will stop that. Now, drop that for time's sake. Actually, give me 17, and then he's gonna explain, and then I'm gonna go a little bit into explaining the issue that we have. Read 17.
Cursed shall
be
thy basket and thy store.
That be thy basket and thy store. Uncle Shah, you can pass me a bottle of water. Now, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Now, do you know what a basket and a store is? Y'all, what's up?
The basket would be your display, and the store would be your place of business.
Okay, yes, but the basket isn't really the display. Your basket is your raw materials.
No.
You understand what I mean by that? Meaning, like, if I make newspapers, but I do it all myself, the lumber that I convert into paper is my raw materials. Meaning what? God's going to send a hurricane to destroy the lumber forest. So now my business is destroyed. And then when I get back or I find another way to get lumber, my store where I sell the newspapers or where I make the newspapers at, once it's converted, like so I can just put the ink on, all my printing presses will be destroyed. All my something bad will happen that the business falls. Now I used a righteous example. Here's a wicked example. Your connect's getting locked up, and then the boys is gonna arrest you, and guess who snitched? Your connect. Am I lying? That's what happens because God said so. Your basket where you're getting your goods from, yeah, that's going to be cursed. So they're going down, and then you're going to get brought down. And be glad your connect snitched. Because an angel told the Most High, why don't we just shoot this cat? The Most High said, nah, let him do 10 years. Okay? Those who don't know, that's how it works. The Most High will call a council on how to deal with a wicked man. And all his aim about with an idea on how to deal with you. And the idea that sounds good to him is what happens. And I pray that he's having a war council right now to deal with all these goddamn agents. Okay? Now, Shlakia, if I could, give me verse 43.
Verse 43.
Now, stop. Before we get there, the reason 17 is important, you have to understand a bit of history. Okay, as we all know, Martin Luther King was a destructive force to black people. We're familiar with this? Right? Okay. Under his ideals, it taught us to be better slaves to our oppressor. Now, after King's death, right, black people went crazy and rioted. Right? This is well known. Whites, after the riots, our oppressor, did not want to return to the communities after we burned them down. Basically, like what you saw last year. Everybody's breaking into the CVS or the Target or the Best Buys. Now none of these places want to be in our neighborhoods, right? Or in our communities, right? So our quote-unquote leaders who think they're so smart think it's a good idea to hassle the government and say, we need minority businesses in these communities. Give us minority businesses. The oppressor goes, right, and says, you're right. Okay, fine. I'll give y'all minority businesses. And says, in these urban communities, there must be minority businesses. That's what happened next, y'all. What's up? You all want to take a guess? Why is it that you and me, out of everyone, always has an Asian everything? The nail salon, the Chinese food store, and the dry cleaners, and the liquor store. Isn't it crazy that all four of them were able to come in this country, barely speak the language, and quickly get a business loan? That's a little strange, right? Because the oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Now, do you want to know what happened when we said and they agreed that there needs to be minority businesses or minority-owned businesses in these communities, in these Black and Hispanic communities? Guess what? Blacks and Hispanics aren't the minority in America. The Asians are. So who do you think got all these newly made grants to start a business inside of our communities? The Asians, the East Indians, now the Arabs. And to cause division amongst our people, they'll sprinkle a loaner to a Jamaican, to a Dominican, to a Puerto Rican, right? Why? Because at the end of the day, all it'll do is create more division. Because now you have Benjamin, the tribe of the West Indians, right, who say Americans are lazy because they can have a golden crust and they can have a mom and pop store. We're not given those privileges, technically. Okay, what's called? It only takes them a generation, though. But these Asians to see how evil America is. It only takes the other tribes, the others of our people, to see how evil it is. But the Chinese become doctors, become lawyers. Last year, there was a white man, there was an Asian trying to become president, an Asian millionaire, right? Trying to become the president. Okay. Now, you think he in any way gives up his Asian culture? No. Right? Now read what you got in 43. Now, and that's what this is talking about. Our basket and God's store is cursed. But here's what you got to say about our enemies. Keep going.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
Shall get up above thee very high. Meaning what? These Asians were allowed to enter into our communities, right? And set up shop and become great, right? But why? Why is this all happening? Read verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if that will not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power.
And that's why it happened. We chose not to listen to God. We chose not to listen to the law. We chose to listen to a cat and his idle dreams. That's what we chose to listen to. Keep going. Read 43 from the top.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
So these strangers in the 60s after King died were able to come up and be in our communities and become very great. The average Chinese food store makes 11 grand a week. Keep going.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And thou shalt what?
Come down very low.
And as they were making all that money in the black community, you know what this government, while the United States government was giving the Asians grants, all right? So they can build community, build businesses off our backs. You know what the government gave us? Heroin. Thanks to Nixon. You know what the government gave us? Crack. Thanks to Nixon. You know what the government gave us? Section 8 housing, which destroyed the black family. Thanks to this system. Right? But they get to eat off our people. And it isn't just the Chinese. We could talk about the East Indian coolies down in Jamaica and down in the West Indies. We could talk about the oppressors that still live amongst the Northern Kingdom or the Hispanics. Right? What's it called? All these nations, all these strangers have come up very high while we come down very low. Do you know how bad of a heroin problem they have in Puerto Rico? That's still an epidemic. Heroin is still a big problem, right? And cocaine. Salakia, if I may, I just wanted to clarify. Y'all are not to sound too familiar, but y'all are more known for snorting heroin, right? Not injecting like the white boy.
Injected.
Oh, y'all injected too.
Injected.
Yikes! I knew who used to. Yeah, I never knew about it until I was 18, and brothers put me on. Like, yeah, you ain't know. Puerto Ricans are big on that though.
It's both, right? And you can tell the difference, right? It's like we're in Spanish Harlem. You see them bent over.
Oh yeah, you injected. You know, but if you sniff it, yeah, you'll still have a better energy.
When you inject it, right? They ain't got no veins, man. They look like thinner. They look like tails from the crick.
Salaki, I was watching this movie one time, and it was a Jake trying to warn his friend, like, yo, because the Jake used to do it in his stomach.
Right.
Esau was doing it in his hand, and the hand became gangrenous, and it's like, yo, they ended up taking the hand. Like, understand, not to get to what's called off drugs, but heroin specifically is such an evil thing. If you are struggling with heroin, please call your camp leader or call the camp leader for Yonkers if you are in the area. We can help you with that. That is an evil, evil demon to fight. And this white man, I pray this oppressor gets everything he deserves for the dope that put in our community. For those who are not aware, heroin is not a game or a joke. Heroin gets you sick. That is not a joke. That is not a game. That is not an exaggeration. Heroin is literally a drug that the minute you still do not have it, I believe from the first time ever, right? Like if you inject it once, you are going to get sick afterwards.
Depending on the potency.
Depending on the potency, yeah. If you what's it called? If you do not have heroin, you can literally die. That's why even in rehab, there is no, like, I think marijuana, it sucks to be you. Stop smoking weed. That's what they're gonna tell you in rehab. I think even cocaine, maybe there might be a little bit of a substitute. Heroin, they have to give you a substitute or you will die. Anybody who's ever watched the Ray Charles story, matter of fact, since we're talking about the Asians and all that, Frank Lucas's connect was Asian in Vietnam.
Right.
Even more so showing these people are oppressive to us, to blacks and Hispanics. But going back to Ray Charles and getting this off my chest real quick, Ray Charles initially told them, I will go to cold turkey. I don't want no needles. They have to force one inside of him. Why? Because he threw up all his fluids. He was dying. And they have to force the needle inside of him or else he would have died from withdrawal. Okay? Y'all think this is a game and that when we say all this, the police put the drugs in the community. They do put the drugs in the community, partially to destroy it. Another half is also, if there was no heroin in this community, you know how many dead crackheads, not even crackheads, dope fiends would literally be on the streets just dead. In your subways, just dead. On your corners, just dead. Heroin is not a game. And our president will have a sore day coming for what he did. And so these Asians for the evil that they brought against our people. Baba Kushai, read what you got about Latasha.
Oh, God.
I'm going to boot up this
article from the Los Angeles Times. Right? The killing of Latasha Harlins was 30 years ago.
Right?
Not enough has changed. For the second time in 3 months, the people who knew Latasha Harlins best and who missed her most gathered in front of her mural at Algin Sutton Recreation Center. 30 years ago, the 15-year-old black girl from South Central walked into Empire Liquor Market and Deli, grabbed a $1.79 bottle of orange juice, and put it in her backpack. A Korean-born merchant, Soon Ja-do, accused her of stealing it.
Right now, we're about to explain. Okay, now basically, a sister was in a store in LA. This is back in the 90s, right? She went and bought an orange juice, a $2 bottle of orange juice. Now, mind you, this orange juice is $2. Remember that, right? The sister goes and puts the orange juice in her bag. Now, I'm not exactly sure what she meant by bag because we're going to get, I have the actual video which doesn't show that part, but an actor's reenactment shows that it was outside, in the outside pocket of the bag, not literally inside of the book bag, meaning the clerk could still visibly see the orange juice, right? Now, to give you an understanding, like say I'm gonna stand up. Like say the orange juice is over here. So the sister went, got the orange juice, and walked, and say this is the counter. Now I'm guessing either by TV, the Asian lady looking by TV, right, or by cameras, or just looked back and saw her do this with the whatever, and either put it in the side pocket or actually in the bag. Now, like I said, the sister goes and walks up, right, with the goddamn, okay, possibly with the thing being visible, right, and stops. And then the altercation happens. This Asian lady gave no time for this sister to really explain herself. And then just immediately went on the offensive and grabbed the sister. Right? Grabbed the sister when she thought that the sister was trying to rob her. Now, technically speaking, the sister should have not placed it in the bag. Like that was what's called, because that can be perceived as something else, right, by the store owner. But the store owner, first off, the store owner should have questioned, why is she not keep walking? Why did she choose to stop in front of me while she's actively, quote unquote, stealing from me? Okay, and then the owner tries to grab her, right? Now, in the young woman's mind, so we understand, because I'm going to go through this case, what's called minute by minute, so we understand. She has all intentions of paying for this $2 orange juice, right? But this Asian woman, right, just grabs her out of nowhere as she gets to the counter, talking about you're stealing, you're stealing. She has no idea what's going on. First instinct, if someone grabs you up, in any instinct, regardless of what they said, especially if they're yelling at you in your face, to defend yourself, which is what the sister tried to do, right? Keep going.
Latasha had $2 in her hand.
Had what?
$2 in her hand.
Keep going. That's why, mind you, this girl had $2 in her hand. Keep going.
Dude grabbed Latasha's sweater, then Latasha punched Dude in the face and headed for the door.
Dude, okay, this woman grabs her. So she punches her in the face after she's been grabbed for absolutely no reason. Right? Keep going.
Dude picked up a handgun and fired a shot into the back of Latasha's head.
Now, read that from the top again. Dude grabbed
Latasha's sweater, then Latasha punched Dude in the face and headed for the door.
And headed for what?
For the door.
And headed for what?
For the door.
Okay, right? You stole from me. No, I didn't. Bam. As the girl is walking away. And we're about to get it. Now, Babu Shah, if you can turn the camera, Babu Shah. We're about to get it. Now, this video is a little grainy. Mind you, this is like 91. So, we're going to show it. It may be a little hard for y'all to see it. But what's called? That's why I got the reenactment as well. The reenactment isn't too bad. Yeah, it might be a little better if you, yeah, Con. How it look now? Con? Now, I'm going to try to go. Now, as you can see, this white part is the Moabite, the Asian lady. This black part is the black one is the sister. I'm going to rewind it a bit so we can see it from the beginning, right? Now you're seeing the altercation, right? She grabs the girl. The girl doesn't know what's going on. She's defending herself, trying to get out of the woman's grip from just grabbing her out of nowhere, right? She goes to hit the lady. The lady assaults her again by throwing something, right? Argument ensues, right? I believe that's the orange juice right there. The lady got her orange juice back. And she kills her. Now let's run that back. Because the death itself is so fast. You don't even notice this woman pull out the gun. Right? She goes to grab the orange juice, right? Gives the orange juice back. Has the gun out, bam. And that sister is dead. Right? Keep reading what you got, Baba Kushar. You can turn it back to me for now. Come.
30 years ago,
Come, you got it.
Police later confirmed that there was no attempt at shoplifting.
There was no attempt at shoplifting, meaning what? They looked into it. This sister had no intentions of trying to rob this woman. Keep going.
A jury found Due guilty of voluntary manslaughter.
Found her what? Guilty of what?
Voluntary manslaughter.
Now, what is voluntary manslaughter? Let me give you an explanation. Voluntary manslaughter is, I intended to harm you, but I did not intend to kill you. Like, Salaki, if I'm like being literal, you got a glass jar and I rock you in it, and you die from that from me breaking your glass jar. Like it tears something, it tears a vessel, blood vessel or something. Now you're dead. I ain't mean to kill you, I just punch you in the face. I wasn't even aiming for your chin or your jaw. I was aiming for your nose. Or let's go with that. I hit the nose and I cut off your nasal passage. I wasn't trying to kill you. I just wanted to knock you. I just wanted to knock you out. You go to sleep for a few hours. I ain't mean forever. That's voluntary manslaughter. I harmed you without the intention of killing you. She shot this girl point blank in the head after she turned around. That's murder. Okay? So, Laki, I wish I knew what count of murder that would be or what degree, but that's murder. You cannot shoot someone in the back of the head and call it after they turn around and call it an accident. Specifically, if the threat is possibly over. The woman turned around. You have no reason to shoot this person. That's not self-defense. Okay? And we're going to get more of it. Keep going.
But instead of serving a maximum of 16 years in prison,
instead of doing the max 16 that she should have done, honestly, I pray the Most High gives Latasha Harden's justice. Because I don't care about the white man's justice. 16 years for killing my sister ain't enough. That means that devil will be out right now. Keep going.
Judge Joyce A. Carlin gave Due probation.
Gave her what?
Probation.
What?
Probation.
She did no time in jail for this. Keep going.
For killing a 15-year-old girl who was walking away from her.
For killing a 15-year-old girl who was walking away from her. Okay, now keep reading.
It's a story that rocked Los Angeles at the time, but nationally, it was mostly lost in the coverage of 4 white police officers beating the hell out of Rodney King in the middle of a street.
Now, meaning what? This was around the same time the Rodney King riots. Latasha Harlins was killed. Now, mind you, agents had to protect themselves that day. Black people were not having it after that. After the day of the LA riots, black people were also going against agents. I'm not in any way condoning that. I'm just telling you the facts of history. This history class. This is what happened. Keep going.
Which had happened less than 2 weeks before Harlins was shot.
Which had happened 2 weeks before Harlins was shot. Okay, so the police beat us, and then this Asian woman has the nerve to shoot a sister in the head. Keep going.
As someone who didn't grow up in California, I can attest to how much more coverage the King beating got.
Okay, for those who don't know, the reason Rodney got so much more coverage, Rodney was a what the hell. Like, it's so weird to us living today, or y'all younger ones, like body camera footage, this person's cell phone. Like, it was a rarity, to say, the police beat this black man, and I have the film footage. Like, you got to understand, like, when that happened, like, when the world was able to see, like, you got to understand, like, things that happen to us are called weird, crazy conspiracy theories. Like, the police beat and abuse black people, like, because it's fun, and because they think it's fun, and they're racist pigs. You're imagining things. The police don't do that. Well, we have video for them beating the hell out of a black man for no reason. This was world-breaking news. And the thing that people don't understand is, or don't understand at the time is, you have to sometimes feel bad for our people because we actually think we can get some love from these people. Like, we actually thought that the Rodney King tape would lead to a conviction. That's honestly why LA rioted. LA rioted because they said there is no way in hell they will let them go for something they can see with their own 2 eyes. But even the police chief, after he saw the video, said, I see nothing that they did wrong. That should have been a lesson to y'all then. Like, or at least a warning to y'all. They ain't gonna give y'all no justice for this. So that's what happened to this sister. They let her go for doing that to her sister. Now watch this. This is the reenactment, Bible Sheriff. We're gonna watch the reenactment from the beginning. Come. This is from a movie called Kings, made in 2017.
You're trying to steal my horse. Oh, no. You're trying to steal my horse. I'm trying to pay for it. You're trying to steal my horse.
Watch that from the beginning. No warning, no get out, no nothing.
Shooting at South Figueroa, robbery suspect down.
And as you can see, this isn't an artist re-rendering or anything. According to the police report, the sister died with the fucking $2 in her hand. Salaki for my language. That's disgusting. This sister died with the $2 in her hand. This is the meat that Zephaniah is talking about. Like, they want to call, people will call her an animal because she defended herself when an adult who is not her mother or father put her goddamn hands on this child. I don't know about you, but when I was a child, I was told, don't let anyone put hands on you. I don't care what store you own. You can own Macy's and Amazon. My aunt worked at Macy's. Her boss tried to put hands on me. I'll snuff him. And my aunt will be on my side. You know why? Because I'm the child in this aspect. You're the adults. Call the police. You obviously see you got video cameras. You can point it back to me. We good on that for now. Now, give me the second article you got. We're going to get into accountability. Okay, we're going to get into the next brother. Now, for those who are not aware, in Brooklyn, there was a brother in the Pink Houses projects. There was a brother by the name of Akai Gurley. Right? This brother was inside of his own staircase and was killed by the NYPD, right? An Asian cop. Now, this cop was convicted, but Salakia, we're going to get a little more of the story. Read what you got. We're going to find out what happened with that conviction.
Awoken. Salaki, this comes from Code Switch, right?
Right,
and it's
right.
called Awoken by New York cop shooting Asian American activist chart way forward. The lines were stark outside the courthouse. A bustling street in downtown Brooklyn, New York, separated 2 groups. Each was fenced in by stone-faced police officers and steel barricades. An Asian American community.
Now, read that again, Salakia.
A bustling street in downtown Brooklyn, New York, separated 2 groups. Each was fenced in by stone-faced police officers and steel barricades.
Right.
An Asian American community divided by Tuesday's sentencing of 28-year-old Peter Lane, the son of Chinese immigrants. On one side, a group of mainly Chinese American protesters held up poster boards declaring racist prosecution.
Salakia, when did that happen? Because I just found out.
This was 2016.
Wait, this case, Salakia, hold up. 2016. The Most High is good. The Most High is good because I didn't even know about this. Keep going.
And Peter Lane deserves justice too, and Black Marker. On the other, a racially mixed group of activists that included Asian Americans lifted Black Lives Matter. Wow.
Signs. Right.
Both in English and Chinese.
Now, don't get that twisted. Like a lot of these, you gotta understand, especially with other nations of heathens, like some of them do buy into the American ideal of we're all in this together, and Americanization, Westernization. That's what it all is. There's a recreation of Babylon, right? So you will have one or two of them. Here's what you need to understand: their very presence on the Americas is a crime against our people. If they're willing to get off this land and give it and tell our oppressor they need to give it back to the natives, we can be friends while they live in China. We can be pen pals. I'll be happy to say I have a Chinese pen pal. Ni hao. Now stay your behind there. You're not my friend. Keep going.
This case began in a dark stairwell of a public housing development in November 2014, about 18 months after graduating from the New York City Police Academy. Lee fired his gun from the 8th floor while on patrol. Akai Gurley, 28, an unarmed African-American father of a 2-year-old girl, was walking down the stairs when the bullet ricocheted off a wall and pierced his heart.
Right? Meaning what? This brother was shot by this Asian officer, right? And we're about to get the story of what happened with this. Keep going.
As Gurley lay in a pool of his blood on the 5th floor, landing with a friend trying to revive him, Leon passed by without offering help.
Without what?
Without offering help.
Without what?
Without offering help.
He didn't offer him any type of medical assistance or aid. Right? He shot this man by accident and then did not have the decency to try to possibly resuscitate this man, keep him from losing massive amounts of blood and possibly save his life. You gotta understand, our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Like, you are literally trained, the police are basically trained to sit there and watch you die. Like, you think it's an accident, they just shoot you and look at you? That's not. Any good person might want to question, should I resuscitate this person? But these animals are trained to believe you might have a weapon. You might somehow be dangerous, even though you have 3 shots in your chest. Keep going.
Gurley was pronounced dead at a local hospital soon after.
Pronounced dead at a local hospital soon after. More likely he's pronounced dead at a local hospital, just because I know how cops work sometimes. They'll make you look alive when they take you out the house. They'll make you look alive just to get to the doctor. Oh, he died on the ambulance. Or he died when he got here. Keep going.
Less than 3 months later, Leon became one of the few police officers to be indicted in a shooting case. In February, a jury found the former New York City police officer guilty of manslaughter and official misconduct. Official misconduct.
Meaning what? You accidentally killed this man, which that charge I'm not too against. I'm not too against. Okay. Right? Keep going. Because from how the story is worded, that sounds about right. I'll let that live. Keep going.
This week, Justice Danny Chun reduced his manslaughter charge to
What?
reduced his manslaughter charge
Keep going.
to criminally negligent homicide.
Now, what does that mean? Criminally negligent homicide. Meaning you did something not knowing and it got someone killed and it ended someone's life. Right? Which is less than manslaughter, if I'm not mistaken. Keep going.
And sentenced him to 5 years of probation with.
And what do you know? Hold up, let me look him up. Keep going.
With 800 hours of community service. Prosecutors say they will appeal the reduced conviction, and Leon's attorney.
800 hours of community service and probation. Right? Keep going.
And Leon's attorney are planning to appeal the case too.
Leon's attorney, right? Are planning. Meaning what? What does that mean when it says Leon's attorney?
It's like attorneys.
Attorneys, Con. What does that mean that they're planning on appealing the case?
They're trying to get it dismissed.
So what does that mean? What don't they want?
They don't want it to go on his record.
Give me a little more. Yes, but what else? They don't believe he should.
Go to jail.
Well, he's already not going to jail. He's getting probation and community service. But still, they don't believe he should. They don't believe he should have even that. He killed a nigger. He killed niggers all the time. And people get to go home. Eric Garner's killer, Slaki for my language. Eric Garner's killer got to make overtime, right? What's called? Eric Garner's killer got to make overtime. Okay, why? But now read more of the article. Keep going. Because I'm trying to find something on this Danny Chunker.
Leon's sentencing marks a culmination of almost a year and a half of fissures among Asian Americans. Many have taken to the streets in New York City and in other major cities around the country in support of Leon. While others have rallied around Gurley's family, it's a wake-up call, says Erica Lee, a University of Minnesota's history professor and author of the Making of Asian America.
Okay, keep going.
Lee says Leon's case has mobilized a level of Asian.
Now understand, the judge is more than likely, I just looked up his last name. The judge is more than likely Chinese. Danny Chun. How coincidental that a Chinese man got the case of another Chinese man killing a black man. Keep going.
Lee says this case has mobilized a level of Asian American activism not seen since the '92 Los Angeles riots.
Now, why do they mention LA riots?
I think that's when the Asians, they were attacked. There was an all-out assault on Asian people.
Right, but why?
I don't know.
Latasha, the sister we were just talking about.
Right.
That was during the LA, like you said, that happened 2 weeks after Rodney King. And then a year later when the trial happened and everybody was mad at Rodney King, the Rodney King trial, they said we're dealing with the Asians too. Actually, there's a video, you can probably look it up online, or they might have it on Netflix, where they went in and they was talking about how, we was messing with the Asians. Like, an Asian dude was saying, I owned a gun shop, and I had to arm some of my people. Yeah. Okay? And they're saying, we haven't seen a show like this since then. Keep going.
And the 1982 killing of Vincent Chin.
Keep going.
In a Detroit suburb.
Keep going.
The debate about Leon's case comes from a long history of different kinds of activism by the Asian American community. Lee argues there are these two traditions of Asian Americans, both acting for ethnic specific causes and issues as well as joining others, especially since the 1960s. She says in her book, Lee highlights protests during World War II by Japanese American no-no boys who after being forced to live in internment camps.
Yeah, you can skip that line.
Refused to comply with the military draft and loyalty questionnaires that discriminate against U.S. citizens of Japanese ancestry. She also writes about other Asian American activists like Yuri Kochiyama and Grace Lee Boggs, who were among those who got their start in the African American civil rights movement.
And that's the thing you need to understand. All these people. Now, here's what you need to understand. Like we read earlier, they're going to come up very high. You're going to go down very low. We started civil rights, but yet they're using the power of civil rights to get an Asian off for killing one of our brothers. Like he gets no jail time. Nothing should happen to this Asian. Using the things that we fought for. This is why you should not care about what happens to a goddamn Asian. The Asians are not your people. Keep reading.
Is Leon a scapegoat? Many Asian American activists supported Leon asked why he was put on trial when so many white officers have not been charged in other police-involved deaths of black men.
So basically, instead of saying, what can we do to help that catch the brother's family, y'all let the white boys go, which shows you what? They're paying attention. Like, understand, you think everybody's blind when we get shot. Everybody sees us get shot. They do not give a damn. So you know what? I don't give a damn. I do not give a damn how many Asian women died in a goddamn massage parlor. Those women were whores. Can I say that? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. More than likely, yeah. Here's what goes on in massage parlors. A lot of prostitution. What did the cat say? I did this because I have a sex addiction. Place where prostitutes are known to be, man with a sex addiction. I think I see a connection. This has nothing. If anything, it has to do with Asian hate. This has to do with what's called our oppressor being a sexual deviant, and the Asian finally getting some justice from the Most High. Finally seeing how our lives have been for the last 400 or 500 years. Okay, that's what he's saying. Salakia, drop that. Give me more.
They also question whether Leon has received enough support from a predominantly white police department and officers union.
You know what? Woe is me for being Asian. Like it sucks. The Asians I saw were really upset, so upset, because affirmative action is used against them somehow. Meaning what? If 20 Asians can go to Stanford, only 10 of them can go, because that'll be too many Asians in Stanford. Y'all can go to Yale. Y'all can go to Harvard. Here's the truth. In 2 years, y'all can create your own university off all the wealth y'all have here in America and in China. We don't have that luxury. Even if we did have that type of wealth, it would be stolen from us. Okay, keep going.
We've seen bureaucracy, corruption, and lots of shrinking of responsibility that have led to Peter Ling becoming a scapegoat.
A scapegoat, right?
Jerry Lowe of Long Island said in Cantonese,
Salaki, you good. Keep going. Read this part. Laura Lamb.
Laura Lamb of Manhattan arrived outside the courthouse 2 hours before the sentencing was scheduled to begin to join other Leon supporters. She chaffed at the suggestion that her support for Leon has anything to do with race. Don't bring race into it. It should be very pure. It's about justice only.
Meaning what? I'm not here because I'm Asian and he's Asian. Keep going.
Lamb said in Cantonese, adding that she's heartbroken.
In Cantonese, what? Trying to basically their language. No, this has nothing to do, even though I'm speaking the goddamn language and all that, this has nothing to do with race. Keep going.
Adding that she's heartbroken that an innocent man has died and a young cop's career has been cut short.
An innocent man, a young cop's career has been cut short. That's so sad. He lost a job. You realize somebody, a 2-year-old lost their father, right? A 2-year-old will never have their father. A woman had to explain to a 2-year-old, your father's not coming home. Somebody had to tell this man's mother, your son got shot in the staircase. The boy's father, yeah, officer killed your son. It's so sad, this man lost a job. Keep reading.
I feel very sad. It's bad for both sides.
It's bad for both sides. We lost a family member. He lost a job. So bad for both sides. Keep going.
She said that Leon should not have been charged. Instead, Lamb.
What?
She said that Leon should have not been charged.
They shouldn't even charge him with anything. He shot a nigger. White people do it all the time. Keep going.
Instead, Lamb put most of the blame on the NYPD for sending Leon with another rookie cop.
Stop. Did Leon sign up to be a cop, or did he wake up and somebody put a gun to his head and said, you're going to be a cop? Which one? Did he say, I want to be a cop, or did someone say, you're going to be a cop?
He chose to be a cop.
He chose to be a cop, right? You know what cops have to do? Go into dangerous situations and not be a coward. Or they're expected to not be a coward. But they shouldn't have sent 2 rookies in there alone. Well, those 2 rookies should have grown up. Those 2 rookies should have understood what it means. Why the hell would you have an Asian inside the goddamn pink houses? Have you ever? For those who may be outside of New York, y'all Yonkers cats may know about the pink houses. Pink houses kind of give it up. That's probably why I was so afraid to have the gun out and ready and everything. Because he knows what happens in the pink houses. But yet and still, why would you put a rookie Asian cop inside a very dangerous project? Right? Keep going. Okay, now we're about to end off in a sec. Bible Kashal, give me Zechariah 11:5. And while you're getting that, turn the camera to me and we're going to get some videos. We're going to get like 2 videos. Need y'all to see real quick. There's a video from a few years old. Slovakia. I got something to tell you, and this is so beautiful. Are you familiar? Are you familiar with the prosecutor from the I.S.U.P.K Gurley case?
The Asian woman?
No, that was the Asian one. Yeah, the I.S.U.P.K Gurley case. The judge was an Asian. Guess what the prosecutor was?
He was Moab.
No. Judah. He was Judah, right? And guess what? Now, guess why I asked you? Remember when I asked you a few minutes ago? When is that from? Like, when did that case happen?
2016.
Yeah. The prosecutor's name.
This happened in 2014.
Yeah, but the
trial happened
2016. Here's why that's important, right? Ken Thompson is the prosecutor for this. And here's what you have to understand. What we teach you here, like, I have on a crowd because this is the truth, will save your goddamn life. God loves his children. And if you mess with that, there's a problem. This Jake thought it was a good idea to bend the knee to some goddamn Moabites, right? Some Asians, right? And let this cat get probation. Here's what the first thing you look up when you look up Ken Thompson, prosecutor. Look this up. Read this. This is why you don't mess with God. I didn't even see the initial part. Can they see that?
Okay.
Now read it, Baba Kushar.
Mom of D.A. Kenson.
Ken?
D.A. Ken Thompson says his wife splurged and took trip as he was dying.
As he was what?
As he was dying.
Go down a bit. Go down a bit. See if it tells you when he died. Doesn't say it immediately.
Brooklyn District Attorney Ken Thompson wanted to divorce his wife and stop living in the same apartment with her shortly before he died because she burnt through money and took off on a 3-week trip to Martha's Vineyard as his health rapidly declined, his mother says in court papers. Clara Thompson, his mother, who's hardworking in raising the DA and his siblings on her own, inspired him to become the borough's top prosecutor, said in a legal filing in Brooklyn surrogate court last month that her son's wife, Lou Sean,
wait, spell like an Asian.
Lou Sean.
Let me see. That's why it mentioned his wife. Oh, Lou Sean. The hell?
She was mobile.
You think?
That's Lou Sean. I don't know a sister named Lou Sean. So like.
Nah, that's a Jake. Yeah, that's a Jake. Lou Sean. Yeah, sisters be having weird names. Now, read this part. Thompson, Brooklyn's. This is why you don't mess with God.
Thompson's Brooklyn's first black district attorney.
Right? Oh, wait, keep going. He was the first black district attorney in Brooklyn. Now, let this be a lesson to you. You cannot go into your oppressive system getting anything. The first black district attorney in Brooklyn let a Chinese officer kill your brother and only gave him probation. Right? Keep going.
Died of cancer.
What?
Died of cancer.
He ends up dying of cancer after that, but let's see how long after he got to live. After saying that man gets probation. Salaki.
At age 50.
Keep going.
On October 9th, 2016.
When? What
2016.
Year? What year?
2016.
What year did the trial happen for Akad Gurley?
2016.
Yeah. He died months after. I think that happened in April. He dies in October.
Right.
So 4 and 10, 6 months. You got 6 months to get your affairs in order. But too late, your wife's busy spending all the affairs and probably having one. Give the Most High him. Not for the brother's wife. Well, not necessarily for the brother's wife being evil and probably a whore. But the Most High will get you. And it shows something. He loves his people. I can get the phone back now. Salaki, give me Zechariah 11 and 5.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11, verse 5.
Right?
Who possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them, blessed be the Lord,
Right?
for I am rich.
No, stop. Go to what you said. Go to the first one, 11 and 5.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Meaning what? The Asian judge did not think that this Chinese man did anything wrong by shooting that black man. You shouldn't go to jail. You know what you should do? You should go and do probation and some community service. The other judge did not think it was okay, did not think she did anything wrong when she killed that 15-year-old girl by shooting her in the back of the head. Even though police said there's no evidence this girl had any intentions of shoplifting. We have no evidence of an attempt at shoplifting. That wasn't even in her mind to shoplift. But you weren't right to do that. Read that from the top.
Zechariah chapter 11 verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
Our possessors slay us and hold us not guilty. The Asian community showed with the Kai Gurley, they don't see anything wrong with the killing of our people. So guess what? I don't see anything wrong with the killing of yours. That's fair, right? That's fair. Because if you don't see anything about my pain, I can laugh at yours. I'm serious. I can really sit there and laugh every time a white boy beats the hell out these Asians. Blacks and Hispanics, leave them alone. Pray to God that they die. Don't hurt them yourself. Because you know why? God will make them like Ken Thompson, like your brother who thought it was better to stand with God and God's people. It was better to stand with the Chinese instead of God and God's people. Right? Now, we're about to see, right? I'm going to rewind this about 20 seconds. This happened a few years ago around the same time in Brooklyn. Right? Sisters, a sister got her hair done or got her eyebrows done. They messed up her eyebrows. Somewhere along the lines, she refused to pay for the eyebrows. From what I've heard, it was an eyebrow and a pedicure. I believe she refused to pay for the eyebrows, and supposedly it got misunderstood. She wasn't paying for anything. That's when these Asians think it's okay to assault a sister. There's no sound on this one or anything, but you'll be able to see it. Now it goes from this calmness. Now notice, you're going to see a sister come in the frame. You're not even going to see her waving her hands or doing all too much, like being animated. She's possibly just having a calm conversation, right? This woman's getting agitated. She backs up, and she goes to defend her, right? Now watch this. Now, mind you, they're the agitators. They technically got weapons. You got weapons and put them in a striking manner. I'm in fear for my life, stupidity. That's technically my defense. I don't know what you're gonna do to me. I'm in your business. Read that from the top, 11 and 5.
Whose possessors slay them and who hold themselves not guilty.
Who possesses slay them and hold themselves not guilty. They're beating the hell out these sisters and not giving a damn. Right? And holding them. You saw that this one kind of got a smirk on the face, the one with the kind of burgundy on. Right? And look, she's trying to hold herself back, and they're hitting her. And we're going to get this over with. Right? And we're going to get on this. We're going to get the story on this. And now notice, I'm going to rewind this once so you can see, look. Right?
She squirted acrylic in her eyes.
Something like that, yeah.
Still throwing it in.
Right. That could be seen as deadly. You can poison somebody with that. Now, for time's sake, I'm gonna read this. We about to get up out of here. Lock it. Assault charges against workers in wild nail salon brawl thrown out. A Brooklyn judge has tossed out assault charges against 2 nail salon workers arrested for bashing customers with broomsticks. Brooklyn Supreme Court Justice John Hecht said prosecutors did not have sufficient evidence. This isn't sufficient evidence to continue pursuing charges against the 2 Asian women who worked at the now shuttered Happy Red Apple Nails. Meaning what? We got this place shut down. Most High tries for that. Well, the Most High got it shut down. Hecht issued his ruling on March 16th after a 2-day bench trial that included testimony for Christina Thomas, who confronted salon workers on August 3rd after getting a $5 eyebrow job that wasn't to her liking. So obviously, okay, the situation got out of hand after one of Thomas's friends entered the salon, at which point the workers can be seen in video grabbing booms and pummeling the duo. Meaning what? That sister that you see coming into frame, now this is the front of the salon. The camera is aimed in the front, right? So the sister you see coming in the frame as she gets the broom is the sister coming into the salon. You can play this from the beginning because more than likely this is the whole tape that they're talking about. Nothing in this tape is necessarily violent towards these women, these Asian women, until they grab the brooms and start assaulting the black women, to start assaulting the sisters. Why? Because our oppressor is the devil. Our oppressor has no concern for us. And this is why we can't have any concern for them. Because this is what they do. They will beat us in their stores. Now drop that. Give me Isaiah 3 and 12. And we're going to get 2 more videos. And we're about to get out of here. Now this is the first video you need to see. Right? Of a sister. Hold up. This is a sister at a beauty salon ran by an Asian. Right? And we're about to see how this Asian treats her. See? He doesn't get the whole thing.
Oh, he just hit her.
Yeah. And we're about to see how bad of a hit that was. Right? That's not even a good video. There's a video that showed you she was leaking. Okay? Now, that same goddamn Asian, right, goes out and has a sale. This spreads, right? That video spreads. This Asian goes out and has a sale. Right? He goes out and has a sale, right? After the video spreads to try to get back to customers. Let's see what happens. Salafia. Oh, this is something. Yeah, I'm bugging out. Let's see what happens. Right.
Get to tell everybody how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Sorry. Oh, no, buddy. Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Right now, stop. Right? So this is that same store sometime later after the video has been circulated of the sister getting hit. And this is what we talked about earlier. You cannot love your oppressor and your people. Okay? The people who supported this hate that sister and hate black people. And it's sad because they'll be next. And then there'll be the same ones who question, why does no one protect me? But look what you have here.
Certain number of people in the store, and yeah, there's more people. There's more ladies out there looking for 50% sale than
yeah, they're literally out here looking for a 50% sale. He said, I got to weave half off. So now we'll forgive you for hitting one of us. Keep going. Read what you got.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 12. As for my people, children.
Keep going.
Keep going.
No, keep going.
Children are their oppressors.
When it comes to my people, blacks and Hispanics, we're oppressed by children. I look at Asians and I just see they're a base people. Y'all actually go around eating rat. You know who goes around eating whatever they think looks good to them? A child. Children are your oppressors. Right? Keep going.
And women rule over them.
And women what?
Rule over them.
Women rule over us. This is who has the power in our communities. Why? Because we allow them to. Black man, you need to tell your woman to shut her goddamn mouth. First off, here's the truth, black man. You need to tell your woman to stop supporting these businesses. You need to take your woman's money. Honestly speaking, in the eyes of the Lord, that's your money. You need to. You can turn the camera to me. We're about to end off in a minute, sir. You need to tell your wife real quick, what's it called? that what's it called? She doesn't need to be supporting these black beauty supply stores. You can find a white. You can find a no. She doesn't need to be supporting these Asian beauty supply stores. You can find a black or Hispanic beauty supply store. You can find black and Hispanic nail technicians. Okay, we do not need these people for what? For fried rice. Okay, and that's pretty much it. With that, I'll pass the class off to the police and officer. Y'all, what's up, y'all? You can cut the feed. No sign, Trace.